This is part three of Breaking the Survival Loop, where we're talking about why letting go feels dangerous and how identity wiring traps us in burnout. Especially if you are a high achieving professional, you feel stuck, anxious, overwhelmed. Here's what a lot of productivity gurus and mindset coaches are not going to tell you. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're overwhelmed because your identity that got you here to this level of success was built in stress, survival, and burnout. And that means letting go of pressure, of people pleasing, of the doing doesn't feel freeing. It feels dangerous. Even if consciously you want to let go, even if consciously you are begging for peace, for calm, for good night's sleep. So let's talk about how identity, what we believe who we are, is actually baked into our nervous system. And let's talk about why the nervous system keeps pulling us back into the burnout. Even when we are outgrown the life that created that response. So if you're a high achieving professional, you are a deeply responsible adult. If you're a high achieving, deeply responsible adult, chances are you were high achieving, deeply responsible child. Let this sink. And not because you were born mature, but because you had to be. This was not a choice. This was a survival response. You became the one who holds it all together, the one who didn't make mistakes, the one who stayed a step ahead to avoid rejection, chaos, criticism, to avoid threat and danger. And over time, that role became your identity, not just what you do, but who you are. So now, when we're trying to slow down, we feel restless. When we try to set boundaries, we feel guilty. And when we try to stop overthinking, it's like the brain panics. Like, but if I don't manage everything, won't everything fall apart? Because the inner wiring still believes deep down, my worth is in what I hold, what I fix, what I prevent, what I do. And the painful truth no one admits is you don't stay burned out because you enjoy the grind or because that next success is pulling you. You stay burned out because the grind feels like home. It feels normal, it feels familiar, predictable, and safe in a twisted way. And breaking that pattern, it's not the mindset work, it's identity work. And why this matters. This is the part that most coaching strategy and even therapy can't reach. Because it's not about what you know, it's not about this cognitive awareness. It's about what the nervous system believes is true about who you are. Who you have to be to stay safe, loved, and successful. This is very hard truth to stomach. For myself, for my clients, and in my work as a conversational hypnotherapist, I don't look for at the symptoms like stress or self-doubt or overthinking. I listen for the roles. Deep down, there is a role, there is a function, there is a rule, the function, the purpose of that identity that is always linked to survival. Some emotional contract that we as children never agreed to, but somehow inherited. I listen to things like, I don't get to rest unless everyone else is okay. Now, that everyone else, our adult mind, equates everyone else with our work, with our family. But if we dig deeper, That part of us that cannot rest until everyone is okay is usually a childhood part that inherited that or got that, developed that survival strategy. Another one, if I let go, I'll lose respect. Another one, if I'm not useful, I am nothing. The one that I've struggled the most in my life is the one, I'm not useful, I'm nothing. I had to be the responsible one. I have to figure this out. I have to solve the problem because they can't. And they, in my adult life, was my children can't figure out, my partner can't figure it out, they're helpless, my students can't figure out, my clients can't figure it out. I have to figure it out. I have to solve the problem. And I'll be very responsible about going about solving that problem. They can't, they're helpless. But who are they? So they, again, was wired. That identity of the helper, of the useful one, of the responsible one, was wired in my childhood. The identity saved me, but now it is pulling me back into the survival, into burnout. I earned love through helping others. Safety was in helping them because they are helpless. They can't figure it out. I became the parent for my mom. And then this identity goes even deeper when, as children, we were raised in challenging family dynamics. We take that responsibility. We take responsibility for the failure of our parents, and we want to save them. And it's all of this can be very confronting and wired in a twisted way in the way how we behave now as adults. These beliefs live underneath the thoughts and they run the show. And they're not going to change because we read some self-help books and finally take a weekend off. These beliefs drive burnout. And here's the hard truth to stomach, even for me. We cannot take these identities forged in the burnout, forged in the survival patterns into our next stage of life. And this is often what I struggle with myself because I have my goals developed. I'm moving on to the next big goals, or the next level of success, the next level of manifesting. But this identity, unless it evolves with me, I won't be able to embrace the next level of success. So what we do with identities, we do not discard them, we evolve them. They're also part of you. They change when we rewire the identity that was built in survival, because that identity is not all of you. It's a part of you that had to do the job, that took the role, that most probably overworked now. When the inner system learns that you don't have to earn rest, that safety doesn't require overfunctioning, that love doesn't depend on our performance. So if you ever thought, I know better, I've read all this, I have all the information, so why can't I stop? Why can't I just progress like everybody else? They seem to have that ease that comes with being successful. This is why. It's not sabotage, it's identity attachment. We are attached to the identity that was forged in the survival mode. The good news, it can be softened, released, and even rewritten, not by force, but by gently updating the rules the nervous system is still living by. That's where real freedom begins, not as a strategy, but that deeper shift in who you believe you are allowed to be. And if this stirred something in you, that little internal whisper that said, this is exactly what I've been feeling but couldn't explain, let's talk. You can book a free stress diagnostic call with me and I'll help you name the roles your mind is still clinging to and show you what's needed to safely let them go without unraveling your life. It's not coaching, it's not therapy. It's a conversation that gives you clarity and direction. And I get it because I've lived it too. So every time when I go into the next stage of life, that something bigger and brighter and calmer is pulling you towards. And then you still feel that you can't embrace this or accept it because something else is more important. Survival will always take priority. And the identity has that survival pattern wired in itself. So I also have another video and an attached worksheet to that. Many of my clients struggle with identities that they adopted early in life for survival. For instance, James, he embraced his identity of a helper due to past trauma. And although this role gave him pride, it eventually strained and broke his relationship with his wife. And in the session, we questioned and helped the mind to break down the usefulness of this identity and help him recognize why this identity is no longer serving a positive purpose. The first step in identity work is to recognize the roles that we've taken on and how these roles influence our lives. I'll teach a worksheet here that has a very simple exercise. It can be your first step on your path of reclaiming that part of personal power. The description and the video link to another identity video is below. I'll see you in the next video. Let me know if you have any questions at all.